As the school bells ring, the challenges abound, from security to overcoming the pandemic learning loss. And President Biden moves to forgive a lot of college debt. It was a campaign promise, but is it legal? Is it fair? Today is Sunday, August 28, 2022, and this is Flashpoint. Hi there, welcome to Flashpoint. Used to be in Michigan, school reliably started after the Labor Day weekend, but not so nowadays. A number of school systems are already back in session, and the state's largest district, Detroit, goes back to school tomorrow. The new school year always brings with it a full agenda, but the 2022 edition is one very full backpack. Oxford schools opened on Thursday, and of course that comes with a revisiting of the trauma of the shooting last November. But you don't have to be a student at Oxford High School to be dealing with a burden of mental health challenges. Social workers, teachers, and administrators are all too aware that those burdens are one of the key concerns moving into the new year. I've remarked often on this program about these fraught times in which we live. People are just on edge. We see it everywhere, from road rage cases to the Academy Awards stage. The kids are watching and listening. And after 2 years of COVID learning, they've got experiences of their own, too. Coming up this morning, we're going to set the stage for the school year, and make no mistake, this is something we have to get right. We're also going to talk about those who used to be students. This week, President Biden announced his plan to forgive billions in college debt. For some, it's a $20,000 gift. For others, $10,000. But if you're making $125,000 a year or more, well, you still owe what you owe. On one side, there's disappointment that the program isn't even bigger. People like Bernie Sanders want all of the college loan debt wiped out. Others believe it's robbing Peter to pay Paul. In fact, it's robbing George and Ringo, too, to pay Paul. And it comes with inflation fears and fattens an already enormous national debt. We'll talk about that, too. School's in today on Flashpoint. All right, let's start with the new school year. Detroit schools open tomorrow. Others are already in session. I'm very happy to have with me this morning Dr. Nikolai Vitti, Superintendent of Detroit Public Schools Community District. Steve Berg is here. He's the Director of Special Education for the Macomb Intermediate School District. Angelique Power back with us. She's the President and CEO of the Skillman Foundation. And Mark Sobolewski is a middle school teacher in the Ann Arbor School District, and we have talked to him a number of times over the years. Mark, it's good to have you back. In fact, everybody, thank you so much for coming. Dr. Vitti, let me start with you. I just told you a few moments ago, I don't remember the last time that we went into a school year in Detroit saying we're fully staffed and ready for the year, but that was your announcement this past week. Kind of give me the lay of the land as we head into the school year.
Well, this has been a 5-year process, just chipping away at it every year, and we know that salary and pay matters. It's a noble profession, but it is a profession, and it's highly underfunded. And in Detroit, that was certainly the case when the board and I started our work 5 years ago. We've increased teacher salaries by $15,000 on average. And so our beginning teacher salary now is at almost $51,000, $52,000, most competitive in Metro Detroit. And in Detroit when you consider charter schools. So that's why how we've been able to do it. We've revamped HR, have a whole new team over the last 5 years, and like I said, chipping away with it. Unfortunately, over the last couple of weeks, we've had some unfortunate resignations, but for the most part, we're fully staffed across the district, and we're excited to start. It's just going to be, I think, a more normal year this year.
Student retention has been your other challenge, and what does that feel like going into the year?
Well, anecdotally, I've had a chance to meet with all of our principals going into this school year, and anecdotally, everyone says, especially the K-8 elementaries, that they've seen an increase in enrollment in grades K1 and 2, and that's where we lost our students during online learning. And even the transition to in-person learning last year, just families still being uncomfortable with sending their children to school. So we're optimistic. We lost about 3,000 students when you look at our height of enrollment, which was March 2020 when the pandemic hit. Yeah. We had seen the first time of increase in over 2 decades in enrollment. So that's going to be our challenge, enrollment and then overcoming chronic absenteeism. But this year, it's all about student achievement, student achievement, student achievement. We got to increase where just students are at literacy and math.
And that's a key thing I want us all to talk about a little bit. In fact, Angelique, the last time we had you on the program, we were talking about learning loss from COVID. It is a real thing, and I find myself wondering, do we have to get all these kids caught up, or do we just kind of relax and say, look, everybody was behind, so at least it's relative?
It's a little of both. I mean, I think if we think about how we get students caught up, a lot of it is holistic learning. And so COVID taught us that what happens outside of the classroom impacts what happens inside of the classroom.
Yeah.
I think we have $190 billion of federal dollars that have come into schools. For the first time, we're seeing a radical, equitable funding approach that's short term right now. And so we are thinking about Chromebooks for students and mental health, and we're thinking about teacher pay, and we're thinking about infrastructure. These are things that we have to continually think about. And what happened with federal funding is that for the first time, students who needed more got more. So I think as we go into the school year, we have to think, how do we ride the wave of additional dollars and then make it something that stays long term as systems change?
Steve, there's a weird challenge this year. Usually we think about the kids coming into kindergarten as, oh, they're the ones starting school. There's a lot of kids now actually starting school because COVID had a bunch of kids at home for a long time. I mean, this is a whole new pool of kids walking through the doors, and maybe they've started school already, but they haven't been in the building in a long time, some of them.
That's right, and it will be an adjustment for our kids, and we recognize that in the field, that we need to be responsive to their needs, recognizing that this is probably the first time that these kids are going to be sitting in a classroom and learning the routines and walking through all those structures that they're not familiar with. And so we need to make sure that they're supported and they're comfortable in those settings.
Does it feel different then?
You know what? It does a little bit. It does a little bit. I think, but we're ready. I think that as we look at the kids coming in, it's been a conversation since the pandemic that we need to be ready for this. And so there's been a lot of training and a lot of opportunities for teachers to engage in what to expect or what to do in their classrooms to welcome the learners in.
Mark, I was telling you earlier, most of the teachers that I've talked to, this is number one task at hand is the mental health of the kids this year. And there's a lot behind that, not just COVID, but for our area, it comes off of what happened in Oxford, which didn't only affect the kids in Oxford, of course. I mean, talk a little bit about what you're anticipating from the kids this year.
Challenges. I mean, I think, any teacher is expecting some challenges. That comes with the territory. I think all of us are focused on creating, kids have to be safe to learn. They have to feel safe, they have to feel seen. I think that we focus on that, making sure kids feel safe, seen, heard, valued.
How's your own mental health feel, though? Because teachers have been dealing with the same kind of traumas in your lives, too.
Sure, absolutely. We all have to be very mindful and take inventory of our own mental health on a regular basis, check in with ourselves, check in with our colleagues, and do what we need to do to make it through tough times.
Yeah. Dr. Vitti, you want to talk about mental health here a little bit? Oh, and I should also add, the free lunches have gone away so there'll be some kids that adds a whole other layer of stress, right, on some kids.
Yeah, we're fortunate in DPSCD because a couple of years ago, because of the aggregation and just concentration of poverty in Detroit, based on the children we serve, our schools have been identified for free and reduced lunch for all students.
That continues?
That continues.
Okay.
For us, only because we were in that category previous to the change in federal law. But I couldn't agree more. I think when you think of the world of teachers, we're not talking about students right now, but the world of teachers completely changed over the pandemic. I mean, think about not going in your classroom, not having the same materials, not being able to engage students the same way. That whole modality of teaching and learning shifted. Yeah. Whether you're a superintendent or you're a teacher, you never felt like you can completely meet students' needs academically or social-emotionally, so it leaves you feeling empty. And not full. And I think as we get, create more regularity and consistency, we'll build those relationships again and get back to it. Yeah. But on the student side, with COVID relief funding, we've been able to provide mental health support for all students in all schools through partners, contractors. And we're going to do a survey at the beginning of the year, all 3rd and 12th graders, to identify adverse child effects so that we can identify the students that need additional support. And we just need that family consent to actually do the service and intervention. And it's one of the areas that we want to continue to fund after this year without COVID relief funding.
Angelique, teachers have always been the first line often on a young person's mental health struggles. But I have, over the last couple of months, talked to so many counselors and child psychiatrists. They cannot take any more patients. Their schedules are so jammed. There is such a demand right now. I'm wondering what kind of load that puts on the schools in the school year.
At Skillman, we've invested $4 million since the pandemic began in wellness, in principal wellness spaces and teacher wellness spaces. I mean, think of everything Dr. Vitti just described that teachers are dealing with, in addition to teaching through a mask, teaching through a screen, in addition to, kind of standing in this charged field and having to navigate political theater about what they're teaching and how they're teaching it. And so I think that's why people are keeping an eye on teacher shortages, incentivizing new teachers into the field. But they are in charge of our collective future. And so if we do not create nourishing ecosystems inside of the school that pay attention to teachers' mental health and principals and superintendents, and then we will not make the progress academically that we need to make.
Yeah. You're I mentioned the director of special education. You've always had to consider and think about about kids that have special needs, unique needs. It seems to me that field is bigger now. They may not be what we typically definitively describe as special needs, but a lot more kids who need some kind of help.
Absolutely, and we need to be responsive to that. We need to be considerate of what they're coming in with. Maybe you mentioned loss and learning loss. You mentioned all those pieces, and those are the components that we need to be mindful of using our data to really drive the achievement, as you mentioned, Dr. Vitti, just really ensuring that our students are making progress and we're building the right supports in. And there's no doubt about it, our kids are going to need additional supports, and we're being mindful of that and trying to figure out and be creative how we can do that and build that in.
And parents may need an extra level of sensitivity of what's going on with their kids.
For sure. And there's no doubt that there's a collaboration that we need to have with our families, and our families are critical.
Mark, I want you to weigh in on something Angelique was just talking about, the political pressures that have been brought to bear on what's going on in classrooms and in particular in libraries.
Yes.
I've talked to a number of librarians. As a children's book writer, I talk to librarians a lot. This is a really unique time right now, it seems to be, to have somebody constantly looking over your shoulder at what you're doing in the classroom at any given moment.
I guess.
Oh, it's not? Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe you've always felt that.
These are distractions. I view them as distractions, the political theater. Again, I think as long as teachers keep their focus as meeting kids where they are, seeing kids for who they are, and respecting who they teach, then we don't have a problem.
I like the optimism. I love the optimism. You want to weigh in really quickly on what the political sort of landscape is?
I think you said it very well. There's always been political theater, and politicians love to use education for their agendas.
Yes.
And when we keep ideology out of the classroom, it's less distracting, it's less noisy.
As I said off the top of the program, this is something we absolutely have to get right. I wish you all the best of luck in a new school year. Thanks so much for the time this morning.
Thank you.
When we come back, we'll talk about the president's plan to wipe out a lot of college debt. This is Flashpoint on Local 4. All right, welcome back. Let's turn to President Biden's plan to erase billions of dollars in college loan debt announced this past week. To some, it was an outrageous outlay of taxpayer money. To others, it didn't go far enough. Those in the legal and constitutional world wonder whether it's actually lawful. Very happy to have with me Congresswoman Brenda Lawrence. Good to have you back, Congresswoman. And Clark Durant, CEO of Cornerstone Education Group, former president of the State School Board of Education, but also a noted Republican who ran for the U.S. Senate back in 2012. Can you believe that's 10 years ago?
I know,
already?
my Lord.
Congresswoman, let me start with you, because before we get into the rightness or wrongness of this, it was just last summer that Speaker Pelosi said the president couldn't do this by executive order. It was going to require Congress. Is he on legal ground here, good, solid legal footing?
Yes, he is. And under the Department of Education, the HEROES Act, he does have power to do this. And we're in good standing to do this.
And you think it's the right thing to do?
At this time, absolutely. When you look at the crisis, the number one demographic of this country for student debt are Black women. When you look at those who are economically challenged in America, and they went through school, did all the right things, and now they're straddled with this debt. They can't buy a home. Some of them are facing bankruptcy because of student debt. The one tool that we have in America is education to lift you out of poverty. And because you had the courage and the ability and the dedication to get it, you are suffering.
But aren't we all responsible for the financial decisions we make? I mean, if I get myself into an upside down home mortgage loan, aren't I on the hook for that?
But do you realize, Devin, that there are some of the debt, majority of it is from the interest rates, where we're literally profiting off of student debt. And what are we supposed to be doing here? Educating our workforce so we can build an economy.
Let me bring Clark in here. Clark, one of the things I've always remembered about the way you first set up Cornerstone, no matter how much a family could contribute or couldn't, you wanted everybody, you believed everybody needed skin in the game. Everybody needed to contribute something. But and a lot of your work over the years has been making sure that people who had all kinds of economic challenges in their lives got an education. Why isn't this the right plan?
It's not the right plan. It's a good idea to try to find ways for all people to be able to go to college or to advance their skills. Nobody's against that. What we've set up is a system where the colleges continually increase the cost for degrees that are not value. There's no value to them. If the president wants to do this, the culprit are the colleges and universities that brought kids in under enormous promises of loans and grants and whatever, but the colleges never take responsibility for the outcomes. They never take responsibility. Did we create value here? Because the patina of saying, oh, I went to college, I have this degree. But if it isn't a degree that is relevant and worthwhile, then it's valueless. And then we load up these kids with debt, and it's a fraud. Now, on the legal side, I beg to differ with my dear friend. The HEROES Act.
You two have known each other a long time.
Yes.
The HEROES Act, and as a lawyer, I went back to look at it. The HEROES Act was passed just after 9/11. It was passed for a very specific group of people. In fact, the General Counsel of the Department of Education in January of last year, 2021, said they didn't have the authority to do it. So the department's own documents belie this, oh, we're just going to do it under the HEROES Act because people are worthy. The real culprit is the fact that we're subsidizing bad options for kids in all these colleges and universities. We get at Cornerstone, our kids get accepted across the board, and there's tons of money that they're offered, but not one college will stand up for those kids and see that they're on a path of success so that they can have value for the money that has been spent.
Let me let you tackle that. Because the same day that the president made this announcement, there were kids finishing their applications and signing up for loans. I don't hear any, I don't know what's supposed to happen going forward, to Clark's point about whether or not this is worth it.
If I can use the analogy, if someone's in a car accident, the first thing you have to do is stabilize the patient. We are in a crisis when it comes to student loan debt for those who can least afford it. We know that the key that golden key is a college education for you to grow and experience the American dream. But we must continue, and I don't disagree. Colleges need to be held accountable. There need to be discussions, debates, and changes in how we're educating our workforce. Because if I charge you $15,000 to educate you in art is something that's very important, but will you be able to sustain yourself and grow?
An art degree is not necessarily going to bring you, fair enough, but doesn't that also go to the responsibility of the student? I mean, because yes, a college offers me this wide array of things, but isn't it up to me to make wise choices?
There's no question the student has to bear responsibility. They sign up and all the rest of it. I want to put this in a different image.
Okay.
If a whole bunch of people who don't have college degrees, they lend money to somebody to be able to go get something they don't have, they're willing to lend that money. That's what a taxpayer is. They lend the money. Interest is only the time value of money. It's not about profit necessarily. It's about the time value of money. So people without college
There's a
degrees.
lot of profit in that, but
Well, that's another conversation.
I take your point,
Okay.
yes.
But so people without college degrees are lending money to give others this opportunity, and they're expecting a return. They're working the farm, they're working in the grocery store, they may even be working at WDIV. But the point is, they expect to be paid back. Then all of a sudden, Don Corleone comes in and says, you're not going to get paid on that, I am. So the person who lent the money, the farmer, the shopkeeper, the baker, they're out. And again, hold on, let me finish this point because it's very important. The flip side that nobody looks at is the federal government budgeted this payback. You're talking, the Wharton Penn School came out today, it's almost $1 billion, or $1 trillion. So you talk about feeding inflation and destroying the middle class and those with little. This is what this is going to do.
Well, I'm running short on time, but some would say you're making the president's case because you're pointing to a bunch of young people who, not even young people anymore, but a bunch of people who've been victimized.
No, what's really happening is, I think, that the people who do have the ability to pay it back, because you went to college, remember? You got all these people who didn't go to college.
That is addressed in this act.
Well,
if you make over $125,000, you're not going to be forgiven.
I understand that. There are a lot of people in that range of $75,000 to $100,000 that are living comfortable lives. They're doing great things. Frankly, I employ many of them, and they're doing great work. But the point is that where is the fairness? And most importantly, where's the law? We are a country of laws. This, I say this with affection, this is lawless because there isn't the basis to allow this to happen. It's not the HEROES Act.
Certainly headed for the courts, that's for sure. Thank you both. I love the fact that you were both have longtime friends.
But
it was a very civil conversation.
Public service that's allowed for you to go to repay the loans as well.
Got to get to a break. This is Flashpoint on Local 4. Back with more in just a minute. As always, out of time before I'm out of questions. Thanks so much for being here. Meet the Press is coming up next. Have a great week. We'll see you next time right back here for Flashpoint.